identify yourself.
I need to get out. You can't even identify yourself. You have no proper identification.
Welcome back to Advocacy Alchemy with Professor Ross. Today we got a good one, guys. Federal law and local action collide in a dramatic confrontation at a California surgery center. You have two medical staff members that are now facing federal charges after allegedly interfering with ICE agents that were trying to make an arrest of an undocumented immigrant. The story raises powerful legal questions like, can you really block a federal agent from doing their job? Let's watch the footage, break it down, and explore the legal standards that apply. With that, let's jump in.
All right, Emily, thank you. Breaking this hour, a Fox News exclusive. A pair of medical workers who blocked ICE agents from arresting an illegal immigrant in California are now facing criminal charges. Hello and welcome, everyone. I'm Sandra Smith in New York, and that exclusive reporting from our own Bill Malugin, who we have the pleasure of joining us today. Bill, great to see you.
Hey, Sandra, great to see you as well. Happy Friday to you. I'm Bill Malugin here in Los Angeles. This is America Reports. This is reporting we just got within the last hour or so. The two suspects here now both facing federal obstruction charges, and law enforcement sources confirming to Fox News one of them was arrested earlier this morning. Yeah, Chief Correspondent Jonathan Hunt, he's got the very latest for us live right now. Jonathan, what are we learning?
Good afternoon, Sandra. Well, this incident happened on July 8th in Ontario, about 30 miles east of Los Angeles. According to the criminal complaint, ICE officers were conducting, quote, roving immigration-related operations when they followed a truck that made a sharp turn into the parking lot of a surgery center. The officers then, quote, decided to conduct a consensual encounter with the three adult males who were inside the truck. Two of them ran. One, who according to the ICE affidavit was, quote, later identified as an illegal alien, ran into the surgery center, and that's where staff at the center got involved. Two of those staff, Jose de Jesus Ortega and Danielle Nadine de Villa, have now been charged for allegedly interfering and trying to block the ICE agents who followed the illegal immigrant into the surgery center. In the video, they could be seen and heard questioning the ICE agents' actions, what they are doing in the center, and why they are masked. The complaint says de Villa, quote, wedged herself under Officer 1 and the target alien. And it says, quote, Ortega, who was still standing to Officer 1's left, appeared to grab Officer 1's arm and then his vest. Both Ortega and de Villa shouted at the officer, telling him to, quote, get out and to, quote, let him go. Both were warned by the officer that they should not touch a federal agent. The illegal immigrant was eventually arrested and removed from the surgery center. Immigration activists said at the time the surgery staff did nothing wrong.
In no way are they intervening. They're simply exercising the right to privacy. They're exercising the right to know who is in their building. They're exercising the right to know who is in this building with a weapon, right? And I think it's important to note that that what they did is commendable and it is brave.
The prosecutors obviously disagree with that. Ortega was arrested this morning. De Villa has not yet been found. Sandra?
Okay, Jonathan Hunt with the latest details on all that for us. Thank you. All right, Bill, obviously a lot more to learn here, but thank you to you for your exclusive reporting on all of that.
Yeah, and talking to federal sources, they are actively looking for de Villa right now. They went to her house this morning. She wasn't there, so they talked to her family, and she's considered a wanted fugitive right now. So we'll update when we hear more on that front. More to come. All right, Sandra, we're going to bring in Alex Villanueva. He's the former sheriff of Los Angeles County. He just announced he's running for LA sheriff again. We've seen all sorts of interference with ICE here in Los Angeles, whether it's rocks being thrown at agents or, as we saw at that cannabis farm a couple weeks ago, someone actually shot a gun at agents. Now, earlier today, we get this video of these two California medical workers who are being charged federally now for interfering with ICE when they were trying to arrest a Honduran illegal immigrant who ran in their facility. This is one of the workers being arrested right now. Just give us your thoughts on the overall big picture of all the resistance we're seeing here in LA when it comes to ICE.
Well, it's misplaced. If people want to protest what ICE is doing, ICE has a legitimate job to do, and they enforce federal immigration law. All these sanctuary policies are basically a joke because, in essence, you can't nullify federal law with a local law. And that false narrative they've been pushing has deluded people to thinking that it's okay to oppose what ICE is doing. No, that becomes a separate crime when you're interfering with a federal, a state, a local law enforcement officer, and those need to be dealt with accordingly.
Police, let's get people. Patience, we have everything. Come on. Leave. Like this is a private property. Hey.
Let him go. Hey. Identification. You can't just come in here like that.
Is he alone? Let him go. You get your hands off of him. Hey. Let go.
I'm just telling you, watch the video, man. I need to get out. You can't even identify yourself. You have no proper identification. Get out.
You need to get out.
Get out.
Get out. Coming into a private business like this, it's a private.
Get out. You're touching the federal agent.
I'm not. You are not a federal agent to begin with. I'm not touching you. Identify yourself. Nobody's touching you. I'm not touching you. Who are you?
What's your badge number? What's your badge number, federal agent?
Let him go, please. He's by himself.
Hey.
Okay, let's unpack the laws at play here, starting with the ones that were used to charge the two clinic workers. All right, first we have 18 U.S.C. section 111, assaulting, resisting, or impeding federal officers. Now, this federal statute makes it a crime to forcibly assault, resist, oppose, impede, intimidate, or interfere with any officer or employee of the United States while they're performing their official duties. So this sounds a lot like the ones we see that happen in various states under their individual state codes. Now, this one carries a penalty of up to 8 years in prison. Now, that's federal prison. I have to do 75% of that time. And that's if no weapon is used, there's no bodily injury that occurs. There's even harsher penalties if there's physical harm or weapons involved. Now here, according to this news report, one staff member grabbed the ICE agent's arm and vest while another physically blocked access and shouted for officers to let the man go. Now this is the kind of physical and verbal interference that crosses the line into clear statutory violation. All right, next we have 18 U.S.C. section 1501, obstruction of process. This lawfully criminalizes willfully obstructing, resisting, or opposing a federal officer that's in the execution of process, things like making an arrest. The penalty is up to 1 year in federal prison. Here, blocking an officer and impeding the arrest could qualify as obstruction, even without physical contact once again. Let's talk briefly for a few seconds about the idea of these sanctuary policies versus federal supremacy. Now, many people in California are familiar with sanctuary policies at the local and county level, but these don't override federal law. The supremacy clause of the Constitution ensures that federal laws take precedent. That means that they're over the top of, they're controlling. Local beliefs, politics, or policies, they can't shield a person from being arrested by federal officers, federal police, and they can't keep them from executing lawful duty. All right, so with that in mind, let's move on to our evidentiary standards. Let's now walk through the 6 levels of evidentiary standards to ensure what threshold the government must meet at each stage. And we're talking about from when they first learn about something all the way to a conviction. So let's start at the first level, mere suspicion. Now this is simply a gut feeling. It's when the police have an instinct. It's not enough for any legal action. A good example from this case is the ICE agents may initially have noticed the truck make a sharp turn into a parking lot. Now that alone, it may raise some suspicion, but it doesn't justify a stop just yet, or an arrest. Now, it will cause the police to take a closer look, and they may pay more attention to what's going on. Moving up a level, we have reasonable suspicion. Now, this requires specific and articulable facts to suggest criminal activity is afoot. A good example is if agents knew the vehicle was associated with prior immigration violations. That will provide enough evidence to follow and engage the subjects. And at this level of reasonable suspicion, the police can stop a person and investigate further into if a crime has happened. Now, moving up one more level, at probable cause, this is when the police can arrest someone. All right, this means there's a fair probability that a crime was committed and a person is unlawfully present, or that person is involved in that crime. A good example, once the ICE agents confirmed that the man in the truck was an undocumented immigrant who had previously been ordered to be removed, they had probable cause to arrest him. This is where an arrest becomes legal. Moving up one more level, we have preponderance of the evidence. This means more likely than not. Also, remember, this is used mostly in civil trial. It takes about 51% of the evidence at this level to win the case. A good example, now in a civil case, if it's shown that the clinic workers acted in defiance of the policy, that may be enough to assign some liability. Remember, when you're talking about someone being guilty at the civil level, it's called they're liable for what happened. All right, moving up one more level, we have clear and convincing evidence. Now, this is in between civil liability and criminal liability. It's going to take about 75% of the evidence to win this type of case. This level means substantially or highly likely to be true. And we're talking about a claim. A person's claim they're bringing, they have to have about 75% of the evidence that their claim is true. A good example is if the federal prosecutors seek to prove the workers intended to interfere, rather than just question the ICE officer's presence, then they'll need some strong either verbal or behavioral indicators. They're going to need some body cam footage, some good testimony. This standard is going to be the standard used when people are brought into immigration court. All right? This is the standard used in cases that require more evidence than a usual lawsuit. So those types of administrative hearings dealing with the removal of a person from the United States, this is going to be the standard being used. All right, let's move up to our highest level. Number 6, beyond a reasonable doubt. This is the standard used in every criminal conviction. This means that there is no other reasonable alternative besides the defendant being guilty of the crimes charged. For example, to convict Ortega or the other employee, the prosecution must show these two willfully and knowingly interfered. Now, that's more than just merely protesting or panicking. That means proving their intent and their action. Now, let's say you're on this jury for this federal case. They're going to have plenty of body cam footage and testimony from the officer, and potentially some testimony from the alleged violator, the immigrant. First, when you watch the footage, now we're talking about the workers here, do you see bravery or interference? Second, is it reasonable? Were the staff members really trying to protect their patients and co-workers from masked men, or were they obstructing lawful duties? Take a look at this. ICE, they identified themselves. They had on uniforms, bulletproof vests that had police on them, and the big word ICE. Now, if you were on this jury, you would really need to ask yourself some things. Like, when you saw the actual body cam footage, you have to look at the tone, the body language of the people, and that might help see deeper into the situation. You also have to analyze if you believe the people's honesty about defending the clinic, or you have to make a decision of, was this an overstep once they knew this was actually a lawful arrest. You have to remember that jurors don't think about just statutes and facts. They also use their instincts looking at people's behavior. And that's exactly why evidence matters, and it also matters how people perceive that evidence. So, can you block a federal agent? I think the answer is only if you're prepared for some criminal consequences. This California incident is a powerful reminder that the federal law takes precedent, and interference, even if motivated by some principle, it still can cross a legal line. Let me know what you think in the comments. Was this obstruction or was it a simple misunderstanding? Also, should local staff be punished for stepping in? Or does this case expose the tension between federal law enforcement and local resistance? I think we're going to see a lot more of this in the future. Hopefully you live in a place where you're not seeing one. Don't forget to like, subscribe, and share the video. And let's start a conversation. Remember, this is Advocacy Alchemy, and I am Professor Ross. I'll see you tomorrow. Everyone stay safe and have a great day.
I order you to subscribe to Advocacy Alchemy and return tomorrow, 8:45 a.m. Central, for another lecture. Dismissed.